And then you've got your hunters building the exact same sort of stuff, and it's not like any of their items really got nerfed particularly hard. So I think this is the start of what is going to become a trend, where hunters in the early to mid game still struggling. In the late game, though, I think it's really time to continue to expect hunters and hunter players to have a really good performance there.
We are ready to get into game 2 now between NRG and Obey. Obey obviously need this win if they want to keep this set going. NRG, though, with a chance to shut this down right here, right now. They are also going to be the first selection here in our pick ban phase. Already, Nemesis and Thoth have been taken off the board. Exact
same picks and bans so far. Now, if Obey wants to stick with what they did in game 1, it would be Janus ban here. And with the Nuwa first pick, I don't know if that was really the problem, though it is going to be the ban here for Obey. So Obey at least force NRG to change something up, which I don't hate, but this is the Janus selection that they were probably worried about in game 1. I wonder if that's what NRG is going to go for, and indeed it is. So no real surprise there. Look, is Janus a better god right now than Nuwa? Almost unequivocally, yes.
Yeah.
But when NRG plays so well in game 1, I don't have a problem with Obey just trying to make them do something differently, even if on paper it might even be better.
Yeah, make them adjust, really is what we're trying to say. And there's something, too, being able to sort of, get into a groove a little bit here. This high-level players, of course, are very comfortable playing just about everything, but at least force them to try and come back with something different. But now it'll be Yammyn on that Janus pick. He's got that one snatched up, and Obey going with the Terra dodgy.
No, I really hope this Terra is going to support this time around, because Xaliea struggled last game with the early pressure that maniaKK was exerting on the right side of the map. He was, Chulainn was proxy farming at level 1, level 3, over and over again, and Obey just had no real answer to it. If they are planning to put this Terra back in the solo lane, it's got to come alongside a different game plan that can actually try and shut down maniaKK instead of just letting him get a massive lead in that solo lane.
Ravana and Geb are going to be the next 2 selections for NRG. We saw just how well this Ravana could be played last game by adapting, so going to be piloting that one again. In fact, looks like for the most part NRG are keeping that draft relatively the same, aside from the Janus, which was taken away, and then similarly for Obey, who went ahead and took that Raw in that 3rd selection as well.
Yep, that's the exact same from Obey. Now, NRG did switch out the Fafnir for the Gep this time around, so a little bit of a playstyle switch up there. Still has that initiation factor for emilZy on the side of NRG now, but you're a little bit more focused on protecting your backliners. And with things like Janus and Ravana, they can kind of get into the backline by themselves and not really need that additional help. This Geb is going to be there to make sure that emilitoo can stay safe in whatever selection he wants to go for.
We saw how strong that course was for them last game, and NRG in response banned that Fafnir away. Not going to be a selection that's available for Obey this time. Now, though, with the Chulainn pick coming in, this does kind of throw some questions in there. Likely it'll be Chulainn in that solo lane. They'll let Terra go to the support role, sort of like how you're asking.
Exactly. I like this switch up from Obey, and no surprise on the other side to see NRG go with that Chronos. I expected something that needs some level of protection in the early game, and Geb can really provide that. Like I said, Janus, Ravana don't need that Geb shield as often. You want to pick something now that is actually heavily prioritized and will be focused out in team fights so you get some value out of this Geb pick.
They're also able to pick that Camazotz selection for them, so I think likely we'll be seeing that Camazotz go over to solo and let that Ravana jungle happen one more time, so that's how they're able to round their draft down. Then Jing again going to be the selection there for Ataraxia.
You know what? I don't have a problem with it. I mean, like I said, last time I really felt like it was picked for Obey, partially because it's one of Ataraxia's most comfortable gods, but also because of the matchup into the on her. Not really necessary here, though still good into the Geb knockup that you can agility away. Ataraxia played well last game. He put out plenty of damage, stayed safe throughout for the most part as well. I love going back to it here.
Yeah, well, we'll get to see how these 2 rosters end up battling it out here in game 2. Let's go ahead and get it over to Tom and Tolly.
Thanks a lot, boys. Game number 2. Really, really interesting here. Obey Alliance looked a little bit better than they did in week number 1, but unfortunately for them and their fans, unable to find the victory here. Hoping they can do it so we can stretch it to a game 3.
I definitely love their composition in game number 1. They didn't really execute it the way they probably should have, and that way was to drag out the game for as long as possible between the raw sustain, between the Geb as well on iRaffer. I think that's where they went wrong.
Absolutely. Game number 1, as we said, did go to NRG, though it was pretty close. So, who's going to win game 2? Let us know. Drop your information in the Mixer chat, and we'll go ahead and re-engage, and we'll touch upon that in a little bit in the future. But for game 2, we saw the picks and bans. How you feeling?
So far, if I look at these two draft compositions, the NRG having Janus, a lot of mobility, not the same kind of style out of the new op, because Obey Alliance first banning it immediately with the Thoth. It means Yammyn's going to be very comfortable, though, being able to reposition himself, especially with EmilZy playing the Gab. In the long run, though, with iRaffer playing this Chulainn aggressively, allowing Xaliea to peel in the backline, I still like Obey's composition, but they just got to execute it.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically the same thing we saw in game number 1, right? But a little bit of a swap here, iRaffer on a more aggressive god, and I think that's going to bode well for Obey, frankly. I think that it's more in tune with what iRaffer wants to do, what iRaffer can do. Problem is, across the way, emilitoo on that, can I call it a signature Chronos? Because
Sure.
it certainly feels like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Playing even the energy skin right there. Season 3 MVP of Worlds. He definitely made a name for himself playing that god quite a bit. Whether it was also the Soul or the Chronos, like Soul for Yammyn, Chronos for emilitoo. A lot of these players really liking their magical ADCs. Chronos is a little tricky, though, considering that he has one of the lowest base healths of the game. iRaffer positioning himself in the mid lane. It's going to be a 3-on-2 for Obey Alliance. Probably going to look for an invade.
Right, you see NRG's jungler is stuck over at the speed buff, and it's going to be the Gab alone in lane. Obey brings their support over to help the Hunter in the mid lane, and NRG leave their support in lane. That's where that disparity was. So 3-on-2, the 3 players obviously win, and will invade on the left side, looking for the red, look for him, and find it.
And that's what you got to do when you have a warrior support.
Hey.
Look for the aggression, especially Chulainn, one of the best level 1s of the game, having all 3 abilities for this patch.
Sure.
It's going to change in the next patch once you only transform with the Vent Anger on top of whatever you do decide to get first. But either way, once you get 85 Rage, that level 1 Chulainn becomes an absolute nightmare to deal with.
Right, he just has access to more tools than you do, so NRG, or rather Obey, learning to work it.
It's still kind of weird whenever you see iRaffer and not referring to him in the NRG squad.
I was just going to say it. I mean, a little bit of a history lesson for some of the newer fans at home. I mean, iRaffer and this team, they've changed banners a couple of times, adapting, lurking in the jungle, not looking for the kill here. They've been known as NRG, they've been known as Epsilon, they've been known as Panthera, they've been known as... I5 was a little bit of a stretch, but iRaffer and the other opposing players have played together for 4 years.
That's right.
And it was just this one time.
Since the beginning of Season 2, actually. They made 1 adjustments in the mid lane. I forget who Yammyn took over in place of. That's like really dusting back the old history book. But once they made that change, after they qualified to the SPL, because originally in the spring split of Season 2, they were in the Challenger Cup.
Right.
They came from the Challenger Cup of Season 2 spring to win Worlds of not only Season 2, but also Season 3. Momentum just carried them on.
iRaffer's got no momentum, surrounded, and no chance to survive. Make your time. Adapting in crew. Laugh as they take care of their old support.
Old captain as well.
First blood.
Player that brought that group together originally.
Yep. But sometimes the students become the masters. And that right there, adapting, taking advantage of his old leader and just shutting him down in the jungle.
It's a very difficult spot to be in without any sort of protections. Going for the Guardian's Blessing, surprisingly enough, on a Chulainn. Even though, like, yes, you're still a support player, doesn't mean you always have to go for the Guardian's Blessing. You're normally known as a frontline penetrator as a Chulainn, especially with Xaliea playing this Terra in the solo lane, who actually also went Guardian's Blessing, knowing that he's not going to last hit anything.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's interesting, and I want you to break that down a little bit more for me. NRG Esports, 81% of the fans at home think that NRG are going to take it. Game number 1 certainly was any indication. I think that you guys are onto something.
Yeah. Obey Alliance, they're playing for the late game with this double Guardian Blessing. So as long as Xaliea allows the tower to last, like, first of all, you're not losing 100% of the gold anyway. Season 5,
You're losing a lot.
You're losing a lot. You're losing about 75% of the gold. But that Guardian's Blessing is going to allow you to catch back up, because now you're getting extra gold per 5 once it evolves.
That's the key there, is the extra gold per 5. We'll see if that one works out, because right now it's an interesting build for Xaliea, I think. This might be the first time I've seen the Guardian's Blessing in the solo lane. Because again, this works unlike most stacking items. You have to not get the last hit in order to, you have to witness the last hit in order for you to get a stack. If you get the last hit, you won't get a Guardian Blessing stack.
Still not the end of the world, though, because there's plenty of time before the team fights start occurring anyway, right? So you could still use your abilities to help clear the wave. Terra's combination, especially only at level 5, is not going to full clear the wave. You might as well trickle it down to about 50% or less, get all of them low with your basic attacks, and then allow your minions to last hit. And then if, you know, maniaK's in the lane going to clear the wave before you do, then, oh well, lose some gold under the tower since you went Guardian's Blessing.
Hopefully, this will... And actually, what's your professional opinion as a solo laner? Do you think this is going to even out?
I think that the game would have to last roughly 28 minutes without any deficit for it to start really starting to notice the difference. Like between maybe 5 items and 6 at like the 28-minute mark.
Ping's coming out for the left side. As you can see, iRaffer getting a little aggressive. Looking towards adapting. There's the blink forward from emilZy, who's going to ult, but iRaffer sends one of his own out. It'll just be ult for ult. Both of these supports using their immunity and their control to avoid some issues.
Some of those mind games between these two support players. I love the style that they're really going for also between their relic choices. Blink on the side of emilZy's Geb for the initiation factor, whereas iRaffer is really looking to lock people down with that Horrific Emblem. Keep in mind, once you upgrade Horrific Emblem, you're also applying a debuff to the enemy opposition to make them deal 20% less damage.
That's perhaps the biggest thing for me is the lack of damage output. I think that's one of the more important bullet points in this matchup. Left side, Obey Alliance getting aggressive here. The jungler already looking towards emilitoo. Not enough to chase out the ultimate, but here's the powwow. emilZy going to be taken care of by iRaffer. And that'd be enough. The purple buff has been opened, and Obey will get their invade.
Ooh, another kill onto Xaliea, though. maniaKK, alongside adapting, finding an easy pick-off kill. But let's go back to that emilZy pick. That whole idea there was no Cataclysm, no CC immunity, easy pull from CaptainTwig. Now piloting the dodgy yet again. Still on the same pace with adapting in terms of the level department. Trying to finish off that Crusher, which has been a heavily popular item in Season 5. With the changes, getting that old Bluestone Pendant effect passive.
Yeah, Super Bluestone. It's going to give you a dot after the fact, but a very powerful one. So, got to keep an eye on that one. Watching how those junglers progress forward with their itemization. 2-1 here in the early stages of the game. Right side tower still technically alive, but NRG will take that in a matter of moments as long as they're able to find themselves walking in there. I think we'll be able to get that one.
Still not seeing too much action, though, in this set compared to the way they were playing, at least in the first week. There was a lot of kills across the board. A lot of these teams are really starting to slow down here in some of this Thursday afternoon action in the eastern coast of America. Nighttime here if you're a European fan watching from home.
Yeah, I mean, these teams have always kind of preferred the slow play for some reason. Interestingly enough, as we always call iRaffer aggressive, and he certainly is, teams still wind up playing relatively slow.
And that's going to help out Obey Alliance in the long run, like we were talking about with this Guardian's Blessing. He's now getting 4 gold per 5, as opposed to the traditional 3. So an extra 25% bounty. It's not too shabby at the end of the day.
It'll certainly work for now. 8 minutes into the contest, 2-1 so far, as NRG taking game number 1 in our best of 3 series here during the regular season, week number 2 of the Pro League. And as we said, that tier 1 tower on the right-hand side will crumble. So Obey Alliance will watch their right side tower presence fall. But what can they gain on the left? The entirety of the team grouped up here, minus the solo lane, and looking for a little bit of aggression to find perhaps a pick Toli and then the Gold Fury.
It looks that way completely. Even going to force out Ataraxia's ultimate once he got time stopped by emilitoo behind the Gold Fury. Now wanting to invest into the Purification Beads, which is a much longer cooldown. I like the style from Ataraxia. He definitely is trying to transition himself towards that late game with the Devil Gloves.
NRG now going to be the one starting the objective. emilitoo gets jumped on, and a little bit of help as CaptainTwig jumps up onto the powwow. Gonna get one pull, but nobody will ultimately get crowd controlled. Now maniaK on the aggressive, looking for the solo lane, or excuse me, the jungler. Jumped on top of the adapting, helps out. Down goes CaptainTwig. NRG again have the wind in their sails, looking for the team fight.
And that's the problem. Xaliea is not here at all. iRaffer forced to disengage. There was one pick. Now make it to maniaK taking out his former support player. A 2-pick advantage allows NRG now to go for the goal here yet again. Xaliea was too far behind in the laning phase. His net worth not as high as the Camazotz, sitting about 500 gold behind. Even going to be more after this NRG Gold Fury.
Overestimation of the ultimate coming out from Xaliea, because you can see from the itemization, Totally, at least in my eyes, that Xaliea had no plans on rotating whatsoever, hoping that the only item he has is a Lotus Crown.
Yeah.
So he's sitting there saying, I'm not making this rotation. Hopefully my ultimate will heal and give the protections that way.
Now, normally, yes, you do apply the Lotus Crown effect with the Terra's Blessing heal, but you're not getting cooldown reduction from Shoes of Focus or Breastplate of Valor, which would be more beneficial to spam Terra's Blessing. It's better for you to be there to apply the Lotus Crown with your Monolith even longer. So I don't like rushing the Lotus Crown. It's so passive. I've never seen such a passive solo lane start in my all of years playing the SPL.
Yeah, I think this is very... we talk about giving up lane. We bring up dimming a lot.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. Like, giving up the lane so hard that you're going Guardian's Blessing, that's stretching it.
And then to
Lotus
go
Crown.
the next level and get the Lotus Crown.
You're just staying in lane forever. No mobility. You're sitting at tier 2. Your team is fighting on the left side of the map because they were invading the purple buff. Slight disconnect there on Obey's side of things. You can't blame all of that on Xaliea for the decision to invade the purple. But that's to be expected with Yammyn playing this Janus between Threshold and through space and time. NRG will ultimately catch up to you.
Absolutely. This NRG roster is very, very scary. And you know, looking at the teams without the supports, I actually would put NRG's players a little bit above Obey's. But for me, it's been about the support, and I thought that iRaffer would be enough to really elevate this team, but it doesn't look like it. Oh, Xaliea gets surrounded, and he's going to get in trouble. maniaK puts him in the ground, and NRG make the rotation.
And still disengaging afterwards with the portal. emilZy, though, in a little bit of trouble using the Gep Shield on himself. Searing Pain from PrettyPriMe. Going to be slightly off the mark, but still a 1-for-1 trade. Guardian for Guardian, even though it was a solo laner for support.
Yammyn finds an exit on the left-hand side. maniaK in trouble. CaptainTwig using the teleport. Here comes adapting ultimate in charge. The pull is good. maniaK in trouble. CaptainTwig, 2-1-1.
Throwing Golden Eggs too deep into one basket. Sure, they killed Xaliea, but at what cost? Losing their support and solo laner. However, NRG doing what NRG is known for best, actually, is whenever there's a slight opportunity for a tower, no hesitation.
Ooh, CaptainTwig getting aggressive here. Yammyn going to die to the dot, but the turnaround play from emilitoo on the Chronos is good. But iRaffer shows up and cleans up his double kill as he takes down the ultimate before he can even clean up.
So close to finding the rewind. emilitoo played that perfectly. The rewind into his first ability, so close to finding another escape, and that definitely could have been a turnaround play as well. I like the idea there as Obey.
Oh, it's stolen!
Wow!
NRG able to take that one away. Obey Alliance had control of that objective pretty much the entire time. And then emilZy laughs his way to the bank.
I thought for sure, like, there's no way Ra is going to be able to get out-secured by a Gep.
Yeah, that's sloppy play by Pretty.
But you know what? After watching Season 4 Worlds, when a little seedy boy takes out a mythical Kraken, I'm not surprised by almost anything anymore, F-Dot. I've seen it all.
Timing is everything. Time is money, friend. And Obey Alliance just don't have it. NRG able to snatch it away. Luckily for Obey and their fans, that is definitely not the most important objective. Will not provide that much. Of course, something. But it's not as if you're getting a Gold Fury or a Fire Giant stolen.
It's still such an even game. Obey Alliance would have been slightly in control in terms of the gold department. It would have had more mobility from the fountain. Wouldn't have probably gotten anything realistically off of it. It's just more about how you can build the foundation for the momentum. But at the end of the day, both of these teams really going back and forth in the early game. And remember the first game in this best of 3, it was basically even until the 25-minute mark when CaptainTwig went a little too deep, got blown up by Yammyn, and that's when the respawn timers were so long enough that NRG were able to secure the Fire Giant and then find the push afterwards.
Right, and we were waiting for this to really reach that point. It's been a little bit more active here, 11 kills in 14 minutes. But I think, again, we're looking at where you're picking a Chronos, you're picking a Janus, you're waiting for the late game here.
Same thing goes on Obey side. You're picking Terra solo lane. You are basically screaming late game. Raw, Terra, sustain, and control. Not going to be your Gab and Raw, but still good enough to follow suit. And I think that Obey Alliance there, they just need to start grouping up here. This is the time where Xaliea is basically online with the Shoes of Focus. He's going to be able to try to get one more item, but Yammyn and NRG want to go in.
Yeah, here's the ultimate coming through from the mid lane mage. It's enough to help his teammates reach the engagement. CaptainTwig on the run. Now on the chase. Now on the run. Now on the chase. Can't decide if he wants to be aggressive or defensive. Ultimately defends and will turn around. Obey Alliance thought about the Gold Fury, but quickly changed their mind.
Forcing some relics from Obey Alliance with that through space and time. Aegis from PrettyPriMe. Even the another horrific emblem from iRaffer. Going to be difficult now to chase some NRG members or even slowing them down to escape from them. But Gold Fury has respawned. Fire Giant is up as well. I don't think either team will go for it considering it's only 15.5 minutes in. But stranger things have happened in the SPL history.
Very true. Very true. We've seen some real oddball stuff. Some surprise objectives.
We've seen Denial trying to go for a 10-minute Fire Giant that was miscalculated in the timing.
Fire Giant takes a second to spawn, so we saw Denial use all of their abilities and ultimates, and it did 0 damage.
It was Anubis ultimate, it was Isis ultimate. It's like one of the that goes into the blooper reel.
It's one of hi'rez's doozies.
It's up there. I don't know if there's much to go with hi'rez, but that's certainly up there. The Denial blunder.
Oh no, I have made EmilZy the face of mistakes. Just because his name rhymes.
That's true.
NRG now, looking for the flank. maniaKK coming from the mid lane on top of iRaffer. No big deal. Everybody will heal underneath the Raw Blessing. Now NRG looking for aggression left side.
Obey feeling confident now as Xaliea has grouped up in the mid lane. Feeling themselves a little bit. A lot of mobility on PrettyPriMe. You can just see those particle effects around him. Raw passive. Getting a lot of love in Season 5 with the map being wider.
Yeah, that movement speed is just even more valuable. Movement speed has always been one of my favorite stats in Smite. But you make the map bigger, and it just becomes more favoriter.
Sure, we'll just add that to the dictionary real quick.
More favoriter, okay?
That's
hey, you have no room to talk whatsoever, Totally.
Hey, my word is law.
Sure. I don't live in your world, that's for sure. Oh, man. We have fun here at hi-rez Studios. Thank you guys so much.
I thought we were at the BAU.
No, you're visiting from the BAU. SSA David Rossi from hit TV show Criminal Minds. But right now, NRG and Obey Alliance. You guys have guessed in unreasonable fashion that NRG are going to win this one. Obey are hanging in there. And you know the thing is, these teams are not separated by that much talent. There's a whole mess of it on the side of Obey Alliance. But NRG just seemed to get the upper hand.
I like what the Hunter here, emilitoo, is doing with his build a little bit. Demonic Grip being picked up. An item that we haven't really seen too often, even by the souls of the world. CaptainTwig, though, just got chunked.
He jumped into the damage. I don't really know what the plan was. And the follow-up, Yammyn from all the way downtown. That's going to be a point for NRG.
Great snipe from downtown Yammyn, jumping in as maniaKK knocked up. Searing Pain splitting the uprights as iRaffer now going to take a lot of damage, dashing back under the safety of the tower. Blinks in, war cries, but on the flip side, it's emilZy controlling Obey.
Tier 1 tower still stands so far. emilZy could be turned on, and he will be, and that's going to be trouble as the mid lane mage takes him down. Adapting does get credit for 1, though. 2 for 1 so far. NRG in good favor. They're going to avoid the damage out of the portal. Ataraxia barely sneaking out of there. And the same could be said about PrettyPriMe. maniaKK chasing, but unlikely to find anything.
He could potentially keep on chasing until the end of the world because Yammyn's getting that tier 1 tower. 2 for 1 at the end of the day. And CaptainTwig has to be a little bit more mindful about when he engages these team fights. Every time, not only this game, but even the last one, once he makes a statement in the team fight, everyone from NRG turns their head. It's like, oh, hello.
Exactly. Just can't be caught out. Can't be surprised like that.
It's
at
like
this level.
They already have a picnic table waiting for him. They served him the tea and all the biscuits, and CaptainTwig just can't resist a bite.
Nice play from Obey Alliance to pick up the gold Fury there. Really just taking advantage of NRG's synchronized backs. And that's the type of play you have to make if you want to fight your way back into a Pro League game. Just down 2,000 gold now. Even less, actually. More like 1,500.
It's Season 5 where a lot of these objectives are very easy to claim, but if you're not losing your tier 2 towers alongside the objectives, you're still going to stay relevant in the game, especially considering these 2 Guardians Blessing, right? It's 2 to 1, extra GP5 to Xaliea. His net worth probably starting to slowly catch up to the likes of maniaKK.
Obey Alliance picked up the gold Fury, but they don't seem to have the pressure or the presence that they're looking for near the Fire Giant. Pyromancer started and will likely be finished in a matter of moments, but instead NRG peel, and they look for the fight. Xaliea in trouble already, half HP. Yammyn comes through, and he's going to go ahead and clip the Hunter on the side of Obey Alliance. Low health bars are Obey, and it's all about NRG pushing forward. maniaKK takes down iRaffer.
PrettyPriMe hitting a good snipe after the rewind already occurred from emilitoo, but the snipe from Yammyn even better. You mentioned how Ataraxia got clipped like the bird that he is, but still not able to go back into the team fight as a result of all that damage. Means that the front line is left high and dry, trying to run away from it. iRaffer couldn't escape.
NRG, man. What is it? Can you identify what it is about this team that makes them better than Obey Alliance?
It's they're reading CaptainTwig like a book. That's basically what it comes down to. Every single time that CaptainTwig engages and goes in, they're using their escapes. There's not that much from Obey Alliance that can force those beats, except for maybe iRaffer's knockup. And without a blink, that's really difficult task for him.
Sure. Gotta have that blink available.
It's gonna be Thorns. Yeah, there's gonna be Thorns right next to the horrific emblem, so he's not gonna be able to engage as easily as emilZy. CaptainTwig playing the dodgy is a different style than most other junglers. Now, yes, normally junglers control the pace of the game, but that doesn't mean you have to be the first one to engage in these mid to late game team fights. Pick and choose of when you take turns of diving the back. Like maybe allow iRaffer to go in, then you follow up second, because every time Twig goes up in the Palau, even if he does connect those chains, which he has been doing, everyone from NRG has those cooldowns to disengage from it. Someone else from Obey needs to get those cooldowns not available, so they do get pulled back in.
maniaKK here around the Fire Giant, making sure he's able to provide presence for this objective. His Hunter over there in the Hunter lane, and the rest of his team over by the mid. And adapting will take presence here now, as you see the Batman rotate over to the side of the map.
Can we look at the net worth really quickly? I'm just kind of curious here to see how Xalia's been stacking up that GP5. Actually at the bottom of the chart, so not even worthwhile investment to go for this Guardian's Blessing, as maniaKK has been doing a good job in terms of finding the kills on this Camazotz. Going full tank, actually. Hide an Emil line, hide a Virgin even trying to get some of those stacks. emilitoo eliminating Twig yet again.
Yeah, just easy peasy. CaptainTwig has not looked like the jungle that he used to be.
It's just NRG, man. They played against CaptainTwig. They played against Obey Alliance so much that they know him inside and out. iRaffer forced to disengage. 5-on-4. NRG commit towards this tier 2 tower, I think.
Yeah, I mean, adapting and Yammyn are going to go ahead and push up the wave. And the tower about 90% capacity. There's the ultimate from Ra to clean up the minions, but the tower's already history, like you said, Tully.
Still having the sustain from Ra. It's not going to matter because it's Ataraxia that's going to split push the dual lane. NRG don't mind losing their tier 1 tower. Only 500 gold credited towards Obey Alliance, but if he keeps going without being thwarted, another 1,500 gold wouldn't hurt.
Not at all. Another one, Fire Giant. Obey Alliance trail by 4,000 gold, and they can actually fight into this one, but not if
PrettyPriMe.
NRG don't give them the room. NRG take care of the Fire Giant nice and easy before Obey can even show up. maniaK's here zoning, and everybody from Obey want to run.
Well, at least Ataraxia does commit to the dual lane, will secure himself both of those towers. It does set up his team for a potential comeback. Without those structures, it makes it easier to decide what lane to go to. With towers remaining in middle and the solo lane, that's where Obey Alliance will commit to if they find multiple picks upon playing defense. It's now time for them to take a step back. It's no longer CaptainTwig that needs to go in, even though it's Ataraxia trying to get out. It needs to be all of Obey picking and choosing their defense.
Through the portals. And at 24.5. NRG will look at the Gold Fury to stretch their lead even more so. Unlikely to meet any resistance. This team is going to pick up their objective. And this is, totally, what is this? The second Gold Fury of the game?
Yeah, second at least towards NRG's side, whereas Obey picking up one along the way, 25 minutes into play. And interestingly enough, something that iRaffer has been criticized before, and time and again, is his fourth item. Gauntlet of Thebes, normally an item that's either rushed right away even before boots or immediately after the boots, trying to get some of those protections and even the aura protections, but instead, Sovereignty and Pestilence online. Pestilence is a little bit interesting considering there's no AoE healing from NRG, there's only individual healing. So maybe that would have been an easier timing window, get a bigger power curve here. That Gauntlet of Thebes, once you finish stacking it, you're getting, you know, the 50 protections on both sides, and then another 10 aura, totaling up to 60. That's nothing to scoff at whatsoever, as NRG now grouped up in the dual lane. They got their first Phoenix, I want to say around the 26, 27 mark in the first game, and they're looking like they're on the same warpath.
Right now, certainly on the same pace for sure. maniaKK entering the Phoenix to get into a flank position, taking CaptainTwig away from the rest of the unit. Here comes iRaffer. Blocking what emilitoo wants to do. Rollout's good. Gonna hit the support. There comes a little bit of help from Xaliea, but the ultimate again! Yammyn, this time from up close, and maniaKK puts a dot on Ataraxia. NRG fantastically start this one, taking care of the carry immediately.
Trying to deal with iRaffer in the back line. Gonna war cry on out of there. Diving in as CaptainTwig. maniaKK gonna be in a lot of trouble. No ultimate. He's gonna get pulled back in. Obey Alliance should be able to find at least a cleanup kill. He's still walking away. The gap shield was good.
Yammyn goes ahead and takes care of CaptainTwig. 2 players down, and Twiggy up for 50 seconds. Xaliea in trouble, right in the crosshairs. He's gonna wiggle out. Keep in mind, the Phoenix still very much alive.
Still for now, but having a little bit of regen with the Fire Giant buff still around their waist for another minute. No one from NRG taking a spill.
Let's go.
Down 2 picks, and emilitoo doing a lot of damage. Nice little stun from Xaliea, but still can't keep the Phoenix alive. NRG, though, pretty low. They will have to disengage. It's only iRaffer, though, and PrettyPriMe chasing. I don't expect them to commit, however.
Yeah, iRaffer, he's going to run out here and see if he can get in range to horrific somebody. But I don't think he's going to be able to catch up to maniaKK. Oh, they're going to stop for a moment. iRaffer turns around, doesn't want to be turned on.
That threshold increasing the mobility from NRG just too fast away from Obey Alliance, and now with fire minions trickling down the dual lane side, their attention from Obey needs to defend that exposed Titan.
So right now, Obey Alliance are down, geez, not even 10,000. At this point in the game, we usually see just an all-out, ridiculous lead. What does Obey do to get themselves back in this contest?
Stop getting hit by Yammyn. That's literally all they have to do.
Don't get hit.
Don't get hit by Yammyn. You can, I mean, you can't avoid emilZy Blink Cataclysm you. You can, you know, make sure you have beads up for that one, but you just got to be in position and mindful about the positioning of Yammyn and the angle of where that ability is going to be coming from.
Get in position and wait for my go. That's what NRG's saying. They want to lock players down and bring them home. That Portal Demon Pyromancer now. Clearly, NRG's. Obey Alliance nowhere near the objectives.
It's funny how this game was pretty much even 4 minutes ago.
Yep.
It was like 2,000-3,000 gold for NRG, and then all of a sudden, they win another team fight, late game. And NRG becomes NRG.
That's all you need to do. Win one team fight.
Did you know that Scylla?
She's not in this game, totally.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'll save that for the next time. But did you know? No,
Did I know what?
that's Scylla.
She's not in this game, totally.
I'm looking at the other gods not in this game. And there's quite a few of them. Can you name all the gods
Yes.
in the type? Like, there was a typing game where you have like 10 minutes to type all the gods in the Smite game.
Yeah, I did it.
Didn't we make a video about that?
Yeah, they didn't include me because I did it.
Wow.
They were like, we're going to stump you. And I was like, I watch the game for a living. You're not going to stump me. Like,
I like brain farted on some of them as well. Like, I think I got we did that video when we had like what, low 80 count or something like that.
Yeah.
I think I did around mid 70s.
we've got Achilles now, so you have to adjust that. Achilles will be in Pro League play for week number 4, actually. Won't be here this week and won't be here next week. We're going to give the pros a little bit of time to practice and scram and rehearse with that character. Devastating warrior who kind of takes on assassin-type roles, similar to the Ravana that adapting has been very, very prominent on.
I think that Achilles, once he will be allowed in Pro League, should thrive in the jungle more so than the solo lane.
Yeah, so Achilles is interesting. He has the option to play either offensive or defensive, but I think everything kind of tilts him to an offensive character.
Oh, absolutely. His scaling is pretty respectable. Not to mention that, considering how some of these players on SPL teams have been playing so far in Season 5, I wouldn't be surprised if he's also in the support role, right? Because his base damage is good enough. He has mobility with the passive, has a double dash as long as you connect on the first dash. And having that execute that can reset if you can find multiple targets is not too shabby.
I mean, hey, iRaffer on the Chulainn support, this is as aggressive as you can get. I mean, there's not much lockdown that Chulainn really brings, and he's being played in the support position. 3-4-3 for the new support player on Obey Alliance. Has had a fine game. Obviously, they're not winning. He could have done better, but by no means do I think iRaffer was the odd man out here. Ataraxia, however, keeps getting picked.
No!
The ultimate again! Yammyn from all the way downtown. The Swedish man makes it a plan.
They didn't listen to me earlier. CaptainTwig trying to escape. Geb locking him down. Adapting credited with that kill. 2 dead on the side of Obey Alliance. Yammyn forced Aegis away. iRaffer rather low, but he's sitting under that raw sustain. Gets portaled up in plays. Unstable Vortex taking him out. Yammyn with his 4th kill of the game.
And that's going to be that. emilitoo takes out Xaliea. And with all 5 players down, NRG say hello. And emilZy is their new support. They tackle their old support, and iRaffer will watch as his team loses.
2-0 victory for NRG Esports. Great performance over Obey, and still struggling here in week 2 of Season 5.
Yeah, if you want my raw analysis, though, do look better than week number 1.
I would say so. They stopped playing the Arachne jungle as well. They definitely went for more standard picks, I would say, between not picking Chang'e, not picking Hell. The Terra was rather interesting. I understand why they did it, but they didn't play around it too much. So they didn't respect the mobility of Janus during that purple buff invade, and I think that's where things started to really go downhill.
For me, it's not even about the picks. It's just about watching them play. You want to play those picks, go right ahead. We just didn't see the unity that we are used to seeing from these guys. So difference of opinion there. I think that they just look better here in game number 2. Last time around, we kind of had an MVP. This game, a little bit tougher. Who stood out to you?
Yammyn. Those snipes, man. Those snipes were unreal.
I liked him. He liked him. Did you like him? Let us know in Mixer chat. And more importantly, how about you guys on the desk?
I liked him. Thanks for asking there, Tom and Tolly. Yammyn did look excellent that game. Finch and Ryan here on the desk as NRG find another win there in game 2, looking strong up against Obey.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys looked amazing. And again, Yammyn, how can you not love the play out of him? We were talking about the Janus first pick. You know, I wasn't against it necessarily when you banned it away in game 1 if you're Obey, then leave it open in game 2. What's the worst that could happen? Well, that's kind of the worst that could happen. Yammyn played amazing, but again, it was kind of a team effort from NRG, and that's what you want to see. If you're an NRG fan, you know, having your individual games won for you by great performances from Yammyn or from adapting are great, but I think that if you really want to focus on winning a world championship, things like having your whole team do well is a little bit more encouraging, and how could you not be encouraged after watching this set?
And sometimes it's tough when you're playing the Janus pick to go for those long range through space and times. You know, maybe that's not always the best use for it, but Yammyn was hitting them this game, and we did it here. Yes, you all agreed with us that Yammyn was the MVP here for this set. But if he's going to be this accurate, if he's going to be this strong with those unstable vortexes to boot, then yeah, I get why you're banning this pick away from it.
Yeah, exactly. He just played so well. I mean, stuff like this, you know, it's just that kill onto Ataraxia is so important because the rest of his team is still sieging. They're still looking for objectives around the map. That puts Ataraxia on the respawn timer and makes sure that he won't be there to not only defend his own Phoenixes or affect the team fight, but even to defend his own Titan.
And you mentioned it already, but it was not just Yammyn getting this done by himself. I mean, the entire NRG squad looked great. That Camazotz, I believe it was a maniaKK who was the one that was on that, and the solo lane looked excellent that game too.
He really did, and still, even despite, you know, the switch up to the Chulainn pickup, still managed to look really, really good in the solo lane. Didn't get the same level of pressure that he did in game number 1, but that was an excess of pressure. You don't really need that much. This zone away here, and also the Thorns kill onto Ataraxia there, knocking him out of the sky. Outplayed perfectly there by maniaKK. But jokes aside, I mean, this is kind of a guy who can make the big impact for you in these games and can also be that role player. He's kind of shown that since joining the NRG squad that he doesn't need to be the focal point like he was for a lot of his time with Obey. He can kind of just fill his role, be that backline harasser, stick around that backside. I mean, what did he do in that team fight? Just kind of stood there and said, you don't get to come back to base, so you have to fight my team and let them kill you.
Well, NRG were able to find a 2-over against some longtime rivals, not team rival, but longtime rivals here with that Obey squad. These two have always been at the top, but this time NRG getting the better of them. But we're still not done. We have plenty more EU action coming for you all, so go ahead and take this time to get ready, and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.